Imagine finding a single coin, just one, that could change your entire life. Not a rare gold doubloon, not a century-old relic, but a simple Washington quarter. One you might have used for a soda, dropped in a parking meter, or tossed into a change jar. And yet, this single 1989 Mint Mark Washington quarter could be worth $1.8 million. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But every collector knows, the world of coins hides secrets in plain sight. The rarest treasures aren't always buried underground, sometimes, they're jingling in your pocket. Decades ago, at the Philadelphia Mint, a batch of Washington quarters was struck with a mysterious flaw, a misstep so subtle that almost no one noticed. Some say it happened during a late-night shift, when an exhausted technician replaced a worn die with an experimental one meant for another denomination. Others believe it was a test strike that somehow slipped past inspection, mixed with regular circulation coins, and vanished into the stream of everyday commerce. The truth? No one knows exactly how it happened. But the result was extraordinary. The 1989 quarter with the Mint mark, the one struck at Philadelphia, became something of a legend. A handful of them, just a few, show a die error so bizarre, it looks like a different coin entirely under magnification. Some have a doubled die obverse, meaning Washington's profile appears shadowed, like a ghost of itself. Others have mismatched metal composition, a sign they were struck on a planchet meant for a completely different coin. Collectors whisper about the one confirmed specimen, found in a Midwest coin roll in 2019. It looked ordinary until the owner noticed the rim was slightly thicker on one side, and the silverish hue didn't match other quarters from the same year. That coin was later authenticated, graded, and eventually sold at auction for over $1.8 million. Picture this. A man sits at his kitchen table, sorting through loose change. His hands tremble as he flips through coins one by one, under a magnifying glass. Years of collecting, years of searching, and then, there it is. The faintest doubling on Liberty. A slightly misaligned P. The reverse side's eagle, its feathers subtly blurred, as though etched twice. He thinks it's nothing. Just another oddity. But then he looks closer. That's when he realizes, this isn't a mistake. It's history. If you have a 1989 quarter, check it carefully. Start with the mint mark, the small P just above Washington's ponytail. That tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. Next, look closely at Washington's eye and jawline. Do they seem doubled, or slightly shadowed? Examine "In God We Trust." If the letters look doubled or slightly shifted, your coin might be one of the fabled error strikes. Now flip it over. The eagle's feathers, are they crisp and sharp, or do they appear to shimmer with a faint echo of a second strike? If the edges of the wings blur, or the lettering of United States of America seems thicker than usual, you might be holding something beyond ordinary. Some of these quarters were struck on copper-nickel planchets that weren't meant for quarters at all, creating a subtle difference in tone and weight. A normal 1989 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. But if yours feels off, slightly lighter or heavier, that's your first clue. Imagine showing up to a local coin show with that quarter in a plastic sleeve, just to see the look on the expert's face. The quiet, stunned pause. The careful breath before they whisper, "Do you know what this is?" One collector described that exact moment. His knees went weak, his heart pounding so loud he could barely hear. That was the sound of a lifetime of searching finally paying off. A coin worth millions, found where no one thought to look. Every so often, a coin like this surfaces. Just one more piece of the mystery revealed. And every time, collectors around the world hold their breath, because if another 1989 Mint error is found, it could redefine what's possible for modern coinage. The Mint never officially acknowledged the error. No official record. No report. Only the coins themselves, scattered across the United States, hiding in wallets, jars, and old coffee cans. It's a treasure hunt without a map. Now, take a second. Think about how many 1989 quarters have passed through your hands since that year. How many are sitting, forgotten, in drawers or glove compartments? How many people have spent their million-dollar coin without ever knowing? For collectors, it's not just about money. It's about connection, a tangible piece of American history that links mint workers, metal, and mystery into one tiny masterpiece. The thrill of discovery. The joy of holding something no one else even realized existed, and maybe that's what drives us to keep searching, the hope that the next coin we pick up will be the one that changes everything. Every day, time moves forward. Coins circulate, wear, vanish, and resurface. Somewhere out there, maybe right now, another person is turning over a 1989 quarter and wondering why it looks just a little bit different. The mystery endures because it could happen to anyone. So tonight, when you get home, pull out that jar of change. Spread it out under the light. Hold each coin like it might be the key to a secret fortune. Because sometimes, the smallest things hide the biggest stories. This isn't fantasy. This isn't legend. It's a reminder that treasure doesn't always glitter. Sometimes, it clings softly in your hand somewhere. Right now, a 1989 P quarter is waiting to be found again. Waiting for someone who looks close enough, and when they do, when the truth finally shines through the wear and grime of decades, they'll realize they're holding more than a coin. They're holding a piece of history worth over $1 million. Imagine finding a simple quarter in your change jar, dull, scratched, and forgotten. You hold it up to the light, ready to toss it back, when something catches your eye. The date, 1988. The tiny letter beneath it, P. It looks ordinary, but what if I told you that this very coin could be worth $1 million? That somewhere in America, a single 1988 P Washington quarter has changed the lives of those who dared to look closer. This story begins, not in a collector's showcase, but in a dimly lit mint facility in Philadelphia, the year, 1988. Machines thundered day and night, pressing George Washington's face into copper-nickel blanks at lightning speed. But among the millions of perfect strikes, one coin came out wrong and right. A die meant for a different year, a 1989 obverse, somehow got paired with a 1988 reverse. It was an accident so subtle, so minute, that even the mint inspectors missed it. Only a handful were ever released into circulation. And that's where the mystery began. Collectors whispered about it for decades. A transitional error, they said. A ghost coin. A quarter worth more than anyone could imagine. At first, no one believed it existed. But then, one surfaced. Not in a vault, not in a collection, but in a box of spare change from a Midwest convenience store. When the owner discovered it, experts confirmed what few dared to hope: it was genuine. The first 1988 P transitional error quarter, a coin that sold for nearly $1 million. Now imagine that feeling. You, sitting at your kitchen table, coins spread before you. The light catches on the edge of a quarter. Your heart beats faster. You check the date, 1988. You flip it over, P mint mark. Here's how you can know for sure. First, the date. You need a 1988 quarter with a P mark just above the date on the front, under "In God We Trust." Next, study Washington's portrait. On the 1989 quarters, the design was slightly refined, deeper relief, sharper details around the hair, and a crisper motto. But this rare 1988 P transitional coin used that 1989 design by mistake. Compare the spacing of the letters in Liberty. If they seem a bit tighter, if Washington's neck and ponytail have finer lines, you might be holding history. Collectors say the true giveaway is the rim. On the normal 1988 quarters, the rim appears a bit thicker, the design slightly sunken. But on the transitional error, everything feels more pronounced, like the design is rising off the surface. It's subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but unmistakable once you know. Think about that. A mistake at the Philadelphia Mint, nearly 40 years ago, now creating $1 million treasure hunt. These coins aren't just metal. They're time capsules, fragments of American history struck in copper and nickel, carrying a story of chance, precision, and fate. And it's not the first time something like this happened. In 1943, pennies were struck on steel by accident. In 1969, a double-die penny surfaced worth six figures. These errors, these 1 in a billion accidents, remind us that perfection isn't what makes something valuable, it's the flaws that set it apart. Picture the people who've searched for it. The retired veteran who spends evenings combing through rolls from the bank. The young father teaching his son how to spot mint marks. The widow who found her husband's coin jar after he passed and discovered a small fortune in it. The 1988 P quarter connects them all. It's not just about money. It's about legacy, discovery, and the thrill of realizing that ordinary things can hold extraordinary worth. Now take a moment. Reach for that jar of coins in your kitchen. Hear the clink as they tumble onto the table. See the dull silver faces staring back at you. One of them could be special. One could carry the 1989 obverse, the hidden design from the future. One could change your life. Collectors have estimated that fewer than 10 of these coins exist. Some may be lost forever. Others could be sitting quietly in forgotten drawers, coin jars, or vending machine change boxes. Every time a 1988p quarter passes through your hand, it's a chance, slim but real, to hold a piece of that mystery, and if you find one, protect it. Don't clean it, don't polish it, don't spend it. Put it in a protective holder and have it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. They'll verify the die match, the fine details, the strike. That certification could turn a 25-cent coin into a ticket to a new life. Just imagine the story you could tell. How you spotted a faint difference, trusted your instincts, and uncovered a piece of American minting legend. How you turned pocket change into $1 million every year. New discoveries are made. Error coins long thought to be myths suddenly appear, proven real by persistence and passion. Somewhere out there, another 1988p transitional quarter is waiting to be found. Maybe it's in a coin roll. Maybe in your glove box. Maybe in the drawer beside your bed.so tonight. When the world quiets down and you have a moment, take a look. Because the next great American coin story could start with you, with your hands, your eyes, your curiosity. The hunt isn't over. It's just beginning. Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through loose change, quarters, dimes, nickels, and your fingers brush across a 1967 Washington quarter. You flip it over, glance at George Washington's stern gaze, and think nothing of it. But what if I told you that this one ordinary-looking coin, this small piece of metal you could easily spend on a gumball, might be worth more than $1 million? $1 million for a coin with no mint mark, no silver shine, nothing to make it stand out. But that's exactly what makes this story so captivating, because sometimes, the most valuable things in the world hide in plain sight. Let's rewind to 1967. The United States Mint was under intense pressure. The country was in a coin shortage crisis. Silver was being stripped out of circulation, the public was hoarding coins, and the mint was running non-stop to meet demand. That year, to speed things up, they made a decision that would change coin collecting forever. They removed mint marks entirely. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just blank. Every coin, regardless of where it was made, bore no clue about its origin, but among those millions of 1967 quarters, something went wrong. A few were struck on 90% silver planchets, leftover blanks from 1964. These mistakes were never meant to exist. A mix-up deep in the minting process created coins that, decades later, would become the holy grail of modern quarters. Collectors whispered about them for years. Rumors spread through conventions, online forums, and late-night coin shows. A few lucky individuals found them and sold them for life-changing sums. One confirmed silver strike 1967 quarter sold for over $1.10 million. Now imagine that. One coin, the size of a bottle cap, worth more than most houses. Could there be a 1967 no mint mark quarter in your change jar that holds this secret fortune? Here's how to find out. Grab any 1967 quarter you have. First, check the edge. A normal quarter from that era, made of copper nickel, will have a brownish stripe running around the edge. But the rare silver strike version? The edge is solid silver in color, no copper line, no reddish tint, just clean, metallic white all the way around. And next, listen to it. Yes, literally listen. Drop it gently onto a table. A standard clad coin will make a dull, flat clink. But the silver one? It rings. A high, crisp tone that lingers for a second. That sound is unmistakable to experienced collectors, the sound of pure silver, and if that isn't enough, weigh it. The ordinary clad 1967 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. The silver error weighs 6.25 grams. That tiny difference, just over half a gram, can mean the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and one worth over $1 million. Now, take a breath. Think about that. How many times have you handled a 1967 quarter and tossed it aside without a second thought? How many times have these treasures slipped through fingers, dropped into vending machines, or vanished into laundromats, unnoticed for decades? Some say these coins resurface every few years, one found in a roll of quarters from a bank, another spotted in an inherited collection, another discovered after decades in a jar in someone's attic. Each time, the story reignites. There's something magical about that idea, isn't there? That the extraordinary could be hidden inside the ordinary. That you, an everyday collector, could be sitting one reach away from $1 million mystery. Think of the stories behind these coins. The mint worker who unknowingly struck the wrong blanks, the collector who spent years searching, the lucky finder whose hands trembled as they realized what they were holding. These aren't just coins, they're echoes of history, accidents of precision, artifacts of chaos, and if you ever hold one, you'll feel it. The weight is subtly different. The texture, smoother. The shine, softer, almost creamy compared to modern coins. It's as if time itself wrapped the piece in mystery. Even more haunting is how easy it is to overlook. A 1967 quarter with no mint mark looks like any other. That's why so many remain undiscovered. Somewhere, someone has one in a pocket right now, completely unaware. Every serious collector knows this truth: discovery isn't luck. It's awareness. It's patience. It's the willingness to look one more time, to check one more roll, to pay attention when everyone else shrugs. Picture it. You're sitting at your desk, late at night, with a magnifying glass, a small digital scale, and a line of coins waiting to be inspected. You pick up a 1967 quarter. You notice the edge, pure silver. You check the weight, 6.25 grams. You hold your breath as realization hits. You might be holding $1 million in your hand. Your pulse quickens. The room feels smaller. The coin, heavier. You think of the stories, the rarity, the impossible odds. You start to understand why collectors call this the ghost coin, the one that hides among the ordinary, waiting to be found. And here's the beauty of it: every person watching, every collector listening, has a chance. These coins weren't buried, weren't locked away. They were spent, circulated, forgotten. That means they're still out there waiting in jars, drawers, coin rolls, even parking meters. So don't dismiss your change. Don't assume that every 1967 quarter is just another coin. Each one deserves a second look. The next time you hear the soft jingle of coins in your hand, remember this story. Somewhere among them might lie a fortune. Every so often, a new discovery makes headlines, reigniting the frenzy. A small-town collector, a retired teacher, a young enthusiast, someone stumbles across the impossible. And with that, hope sparks again in collectors everywhere. Because if they found one, anyone could, and that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about money. It's about mystery, about history, about the thrill of the hunt. It's about knowing that greatness can hide in the smallest, most unassuming places. So tonight, when the house is quiet and the world has gone still, pull out that jar of coins. Lay them across the table. Let the light hit the edges. Listen to their sounds. Test their weights. Because you never know what you might find. Maybe, just maybe, that 1967 no mint mark Washington quarter sitting there isn't just pocket change. Maybe it's your key to something extraordinary. Imagine this. You're sorting through an old coffee can full of coins, quarters, nickels, dimes, all worn from years of change. You're half paying attention, thinking about your day, when something catches your eye. A 1978 Washington quarter. Ordinary, right? Just 25 cents. But what if I told you one version of that coin could be worth $1.2 million? Yes, $1 million hiding in plain sight, in the palm of your hand. It sounds impossible. But this isn't a rumor, and it isn't a fairy tale. This is the story of how a single misstrike at the Denver Mint in 1978 created one of the rarest coins in American history, and how it vanished from records for decades. Back in the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was pushing hard to modernize production. Machines ran non-stop. Workers were under pressure to churn out millions of quarters. Somewhere in that chaos, something went wrong, something extraordinary. It started with a die. One meant for a 1978 quarter. Another meant for a different denomination altogether. The two were accidentally paired during a late-night shift. The result? A hybrid coin, a 1978 D Washington quarter, struck on a 40% silver planchet leftover from the Eisenhower dollar production runs. No one was supposed to know. The mint quietly destroyed misstrikes whenever they were found. But one, maybe two, escaped to fast forward decades later. A collector in Colorado was rummaging through a deceased relative's belongings. He found an envelope labeled simply, "Coins." Inside were a few tarnished quarters. One of them felt heavier, colder. The color wasn't quite right. And when weighed 5.75 grams, not 5.67 like it should have been. That difference set off a chain reaction that would change coin collecting history forever. To this day, that single 1978 D quarter is confirmed authentic. 40% silver, Denver mint mark, slightly thicker rim, and a faint double rim on the obverse side where Washington's neck meets the field. The reverse eagle appears slightly deeper, with an almost ghostly texture in the feathers. Collectors around the country have been hunting for a second one ever since. Some say it's out there, in a collection, in circulation, or hidden in a forgotten drawer. Now, here's where things get personal. Because this coin isn't just rare. It's a symbol of chance, of how value can hide in the ordinary. People have spent their lives chasing it. Some gave up, others still believe. Take the story of Robert Hayes, a lifelong collector from Missouri. He started with a jar of coins from his father's hardware store. One night, while cleaning his collection, he noticed a strange 1978 quarter, darker tone, heavier feel. He sent it to be graded, and for months, silence. Then came the call, "You might want to sit down." His coin was verified as a mint error struck on a silver planchet, one of possibly two in existence. He cried on the phone. After decades of searching flea markets and coin shows, he'd finally found his treasure. He later sold it for over $1 million at a private auction, but here's the thing, there could still be another one. Imagine this, you're at a garage sale, flipping through a coin album. You see a 1978 D quarter. The seller says, "Just a quarter, take it." You toss it in your pocket. Hours later, at home, you feel its weight slightly off. You place it on a small digital scale, 5.75 grams. You hold it under a bright light, the silver luster seems different. That's when your heart starts pounding, because you remember hearing about the 1978 D $1 million quarter. Let's slow this down. If you want to identify this coin, here's how. First, check the date, 1978. Then look for the small D mint mark right beneath Washington's neck, above the R in quarter dollar. That mark means it came from the Denver Mint, the only known location for the misstrike. Second, weigh the coin. A normal clad quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. The silver planchet error weighs about 5.75 grams. That tiny difference is everything. Third, check the edge. A regular quarter will show a copper band, that brownish-orange stripe on the edge. The rare silver version? No copper color. Just pure silver tone, smooth and bright all around. Finally, listen. Drop it gently on a hard surface, the ring of silver is unmistakable, higher and clearer than the dull thud of a clad coin. Collectors call it the $1 million chime. It's said that the original mint worker who caused the misstrike kept quiet for years. Before he passed, he told his grandson about the silver quarter that got away. The boy didn't believe him until decades later, he saw the story in a collector's magazine. That's the haunting part of this story. Somewhere, in someone's change jar, purse, glove box, or old family coin album, another one of those coins could be waiting. It's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for and daring to believe that something so small could change your life. People chase fortune in big ways: stocks, property, lottery tickets. But sometimes, fate hides it in the smallest corners. A single quarter, lost in circulation for over 40 years, transformed from pocket change to a piece of history. You don't have to be rich or an expert to find it. You just have to look. Pay attention. Because the universe has a funny way of hiding miracles in the mundane. You're emptying out your car's coin tray. A few old coins tumble out. One catches the light just right. You pick it up. 1978, D mint mark. No copper on the edge. Heavier in your hand. Your pulse quickens. Could this be it? Wouldn't it be something to hold history, to touch something worth over $1 million that once bought a gumball? Don't let this story be just a legend. Check your change. Look at your old collections. Ask your parents, your grandparents, if they've got old quarters tucked away somewhere. Because the difference between an ordinary coin and a life-changing discovery might be a single letter, that tiny D. Every collector dreams of that moment, the one that makes all the hours of searching worthwhile. And maybe, just maybe, your story is next. Imagine this: you're holding a handful of change from the grocery store, and hidden among the dull clinks of copper and silver is a single coin that could change your life forever. A 2021 quarter, ordinary at first glance, but this one, with the tiny P mint mark, might be worth over $1 million. That's right, $1 million in a single flick of the wrist. And the most haunting part? You might have already held it, and never even knew it started quietly, as these things always do. Somewhere inside the Philadelphia Mint in early 2021, during a time when the world was reeling and production lines were strained, something went wrong. Or maybe, something went right. A small batch of Washington quarters, from the America the Beautiful series, with the Crossing the Delaware design, came out different. To the naked eye, they looked the same. But to a collector's trained gaze, they were a mystery wrapped in metal. The P mint mark, perfectly struck, but the details, the texture, the finish, the tiny irregularities whispered of a rare and possibly unique die variety. A coin like that doesn't just slip through unnoticed. But somehow, it did. Picture this: a mint worker finishing a long shift, the hum of machines filling the air, one stray coin rolling down a chute where it doesn't belong. Maybe it lands in a bin bound for a vending company. Maybe it gets mixed in with payroll change at a local bank. No one notices. Not yet. Months later, collectors begin to whisper. Someone finds a strange 2021 P quarter, the details sharper, almost carved in relief, with what appears to be a doubled obverse, Washington's profile shadowed by an eerie twin. Another collector spots one where the crossing lines on the reverse seem thicker, bolder, as if etched by hand. One sells online for $200, then $500, then $5,000. And soon, the rumors ignite: a single coin, the perfect strike, sold privately for $1.30 million. Every collector knows that thrill, that rush of possibility. The heartbeat quickens, the palms sweat. You start pulling out every 2021 quarter you can find. You grab a magnifying glass. You turn on a lamp. Could it be this one? Could this be the coin? Let's pause for a moment. Take a breath. Because what makes this coin special isn't just its rarity, it's what it represents. The Crossing the Delaware quarter was meant to mark a transition, a return to Washington's legacy after the National Parks series. It was symbolic, a moment of resilience, of courage. Just as Washington crossed the icy Delaware River in 1776, America in 2021 was crossing into something uncertain. And maybe, just maybe, that symbolism etched itself into the metal. And now, here's what you need to look for. Pull out your magnifier, the kind every collector keeps nearby. Start with the obverse, George Washington's face. On the rare 2021 P error, there's a doubling effect visible on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Not dramatic, but crisp, as if there's a faint echo behind each letter. The mint mark P should be clear and upright, not tilted or blurred. On the reverse, study the river's texture and the ore in Washington's hand. In the rare version, there's an extra ridge along the blade, almost invisible unless the light hits it just right. And one more thing, the edge. The reeded edge should have a strange unevenness, a rhythm that skips ever so slightly, like a heartbeat. If you find that, well, you might just be holding one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Collectors across the country have been searching, from New Jersey to Nevada, from dusty change jars to forgotten glove compartments. The hunt has reignited the spark of coin collecting for a new generation. You see, this isn't just about the money, though $1 million will certainly make your heart race. It's about the story. The mystery. The thrill of discovering something everyone else overlooked, because every collector knows history hides in plain sight. Sometimes it's a faint doubling on a quarter. Sometimes it's the mark of a moment when machines misfired and miracles happened. Imagine yourself at a coin show. Tables filled with binders, magnifiers, and decades of history. You're thumbing through a stack of 2021 quarters, your eyes trained for the gleam of possibility. Then you see it, that perfect glint, that subtle difference. Your pulse quickens. You flip it over, bring it to the light, and there it is, the P mark, sharp as a whisper, the doubling unmistakable. A quiet storm inside your chest. You call an appraiser. They examine it. Silence stretches in the air, thick with anticipation. Then they look up. You realize what you have, right? They say. You nod, but you're trembling. They smile, slow and deliberate. This is it, this is the one. This coin could be worth over $1 million. You feel your world shift. The hum of the show fades away. All those years of searching, hoping, learning, and here it is. A piece of history in your palm, maybe that's what keeps collectors going, that endless hope that something extraordinary is still out there. Because every time you turn over a coin, you're not just looking for silver or copper. You're looking for a story, and the 2021 P quarter story is still being written. Some say there are a dozen of them. Others believe only 3 exist. Maybe more are still out there, buried in pocket change, passed over by hands that never knew their worth. So tonight, when you empty your wallet or count the change from your car's cup holder, take a closer look. That dull quarter might just sparkle differently under the kitchen light. Tilt it. Look closer. Search for that P. Search for that doubling. You might feel silly at first, but every legendary discovery begins that way. What if your next coin, the one sitting quietly beside a few nickels and dimes, is the one? What if your story is the next great collector's legend, the one people whisper about at shows and online forums for decades to come? It's not impossible. It's happened before. Ordinary people finding extraordinary treasures simply because they cared enough to look. The 2021 P crossing the Delaware quarter with doubled lettering, crisp relief, and a slightly irregular edge, that's the one to watch. You might think it's just spare change. But to the right collector, to the right buyer, it's a once-in-a-lifetime discovery.